Hello class, here's a review for the midterm. This will be basically what you need to know. If you can do everything on here, you'll do fine on the midterm. So some of the things you need to know is the opposite of a number. So the opposite of any number is just its negative. So a positive number becomes negative, the opposite of that will be positive. For instance, if you start with negative 175, you would get positive 175. If you start with 170, you would get negative 170. So basically, x goes to negative x goes to x. Then you're going to need to know the difference between rational and irrational numbers. So I'm just going to give a few examples. Remember that rational are ones that will either terminate or repeat. An irrational number is a non-terminating, non-repeating number. So for an irrational, you can have examples something like square root of 3, because it goes on forever after the decimal point and it doesn't repeat itself. For rational, anytime you have a over b, where a and b are integers, so for example, 3 over 8, if you just have something like 0.5, that just stops there. If you have 4, it just stops there. Even if you have 0.3 repeating, because that 3 is repeating, that makes it a rational number. Then you're going to need to know how to write a number that's written out in words. So if you have something like 575 million, 712,000, 304. You're just going to write 575 million, 575 million, comma, 712,000, 712, comma, 304. And that's what you'll be doing on one of them, is just writing the number in. You'll also need to know how to arrange numbers from the lowest to smallest. So remember, negative numbers are smaller than positive numbers, and the bigger the actual number is when it's negative, the smaller the number is. So if we had something like negative 33, negative 85, 81, 106.2, and 709, the smallest number here would be negative 85. The first thing to do is look for the negatives. Then look for the biggest absolute value. So negative 85, and then negative 33. Then the next biggest one is 81. Then the next biggest one is 106.2. And then the last one is 709. So just arrange numbers. And then if you have something like negative 12 and negative 8, and it asks you which one is bigger, you have to put either greater than, less than, or equal to. Remember, this will be like on a number line. So negative 8 is bigger, so it's going to be negative 12 is less than negative 8. If you need to, just do a number line and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then 12 would be here. And that's how you can tell if something is bigger or not. Then you're going to do a whole bunch of just some adding and subtracting, multiplying and dividing. So let's say we have 18 minus 9 plus negative 18 plus 12. So we're just going to add these straight across. 18 minus 9 is 8, is 9, minus 18, negative 9, plus 12, and that equals 3. On all these, remember, you can use your calculator on these. So let's say we have negative 1 times negative 43. So we have a negative times negative, that makes positive. 1 times 43 is 43. If we have 6 times 4, that's going to equal 24. Then you'll have some that have 3 digits. 752 times 188. Again, you can either do this on paper or just use your calculator. You're going to get 141,376. You might have some where you have a 2-digit, say 56 times negative 271. This one has 1 negative, so the answer is going to be negative. When you multiply these, you're going to get negative 151,151,76. You also have some that you divide. Say we have 2896 divided by 4. It says to use long division, so you can do that. 4 will go into 28 7 times, and 4 times 7 is 28, 0 remainder. 4, bring down the 9. 4 into 9 is 2, with 1 remainder, and 4 into 16 is 4. Then you'll also have some that have absolute value. So say we have absolute value of 2453. Remember, whatever's in the absolute value sign becomes positive. So the answer here is just going to be 2453. You'll also have some, let's say, negative 701 plus 44, all in the absolute value. So first you're going to do the operation. 701 minus 44 is negative 657, all in the absolute value. Absolute value of negative 657 is just going to be positive 657. If you have negative absolute value of 2453, here the answer is going to end up being negative 2453 because the negative is on the outside of the absolute value signs. Okay, next you're going to need to know the divisibilities. So, if anything is divisible by 2, if it ends in 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, then it's divisible by 2. For 3, if all the digits add up to 3, or add up to a number that's divisible by 3, then that whole number is divisible by 3. So a simple one, 18. Add 1 plus 8, that equals 9. 3 goes evenly into 9, so 18 is divisible by 3. So to test for 4, it's just if the last 2 digits are divisible by 4. So let's say you have 216. Since 16 is divisible by 4, so is 216. For 5, if the number ends in 0 or 5, for 6, the number has to be divisible by both 2 and 3, and then it works. And then 9, if all the digits are divisible by, or if you add up all the digits and they are divisible by 9, then that works. So here, 18, 1 plus 9 is 9, so 9 will go into 18. And here, 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 6 is 9, 9 goes into that, so 9 will go into 216. And then for 10, if the number ends in a 0, then it's divisible by 10. So those are those rules. Then you're going to do a lot of exponents. So say we have 7 squared. That just means 7 times 7, which is 49. Say we have negative 7 squared. That means negative 7 times 7, which equals negative 49. Say we have in parentheses negative 7, the whole thing squared. That's negative 7 times negative 7. And so negative times negative is positive, so that's going to be a positive 49. Let's say we have 4 times 4 to the 3. There, you're going to do 4 to the 3, which is 64, times 4, which is 256. Let's say we have negative 2 all raised to the 3. If you need to, just write them out. Negative 2, negative 2, negative 2, negative, negative, negative. That means there's 3 of them. So the answer is going to be a negative, and 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Then we'll have square roots. Say we have square root of 81, that equals 9. Negative square root of 81 is negative 9. Square root of negative 81 is not a real number. So if the negative sign is inside the square root, it's not a real number. If there's no negative at all, you're just going to take the positive square root. If there's a negative sign outside, then the answer is going to be a negative. And let's say another one like the ones we did. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Here you have 3 5 times. That equals 3 raised to the 5. And that's what it's asking you, is to write it in exponential form. So you'll have quite a few like that. Then you're going to have some fractions and also some order of operations. So for PEMDAS, do parentheses, exponents, which include square roots, and then multiplication, division across in the same order at the same time, and then addition and subtraction together. So let's say we have 21 plus 4 divided by 2 times 3 raised to the 5 minus 3. So we don't have any parentheses, so the first thing I have to do is the exponent. 3 raised to the 5 is 243. 21 plus 4 divided by 2 times 243 minus 3. Then I do multiplication and division in the same order. So I'm going to do this division before I do the multiplication. 4 divided by 2 is 2 times 243 is 486. So I have 21 plus 486 minus 3. Now I do addition and subtraction from left to right. 21 plus 486 is 507 minus 3 is 504. Okay, and then a lot of fraction ones. So you're going to be given a picture and you're going to say what the fraction is. So let's say we have this 1, 2, 1, 2, and we have 9 total squares. 5 of them are blacked out, so that's 5 over 9. Count how many are blacked out. That's the numerator. The total number of squares is the bottom. With that, you also need to know what improper fraction, proper, and mixed. So a proper fraction has the numerator smaller than the denominator. An improper will be like this, where the numerator is bigger, and a mixed fraction has a whole number along with a fraction. So back to this one, you might have something like someone with a pizza, and this one is all marked out. Notice that each of these has 8 pieces. And then, so there's 2 full ones, and then this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 8 pieces there. So the answer here would be 2 and 5/8. Then you're going to do a bunch where you are going back and forth between a mixed fraction and an improper fraction. So say we have 8 over 3. Change that into a mixed number. You're going to divide 3 into 8. It's going to go 2 times with 2 remaining. So you're going to put the 2 and you're going to put the same denominator. So 2 and 2/3. Going backwards, say we have 11 and 3/4. You're going to multiply the denominator times the whole number. So that you're going to get 44. And then add the numerator. So that's going to be your new numerator. It's 47. And you just keep the same denominator. So it's 47 over 4. And let's say you have a number line. 1, 2, 3. 1, 1, 2, 3. And it's broken up into fourths. And it's asking you what this point is. count how many fourths there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it's over 4. Then let's say you have a fraction, 25 over 30, and it says to simplify it. So what number will go into both of these? A 5 will go into both of those. So 25 divided by 5 is 5. 30 divided by 5 is 6. Okay? Then you're going to be multiplying, dividing, and adding and subtracting fractions. Say we have 4 over 15 times 9 over 8. So the way I would do this is simplify everything first and then multiply. Or you could just multiply the numerators to each other, the denominators to each other, and then simplify. I do it this other way because for me it's easy. 4 will go into both 4 and 8. It'll go 1 and 2. 3 will go into both 9 and 5. It'll go 3 times here, 5 times here. So 1 times 3 is 3, and 5 times 2 is 10. That's how I would do that one. Let's say we have 2 over 5 divided by 30 over 7. When you're dividing fractions, the first thing you do is flip the second fraction and turn it into multiplication. So this becomes 2 over 5 times 7 over 30. And now I can simplify the 2 and the 30. 2 will go into both of those, so this becomes a 1. This becomes a 15. So 1 times 7 is 7. 5 times 15. Is that right? Yeah. 5 times 15 is 45. No, it's not. 65. 75. 7 over 75. Okay, next, actually let me do another one of these. 2 over 3 divided by 30 over 7. Okay, so we're going to flip the second one, so we have 2 over 3 times 7 over 30. And now, when we simplify the 2 and the 30, we get a 1 and a 15. 1 times 7 is 7. 3 times 15 is 45. I couldn't read my handwriting there. This should have been a 3 instead of a 5. But 5 times 15 is 75. So this one would be 7 over 75. This one here, 7 over 45. Okay, and then adding fractions. Say we have 1/2 plus 5 over 12. Okay, we need common denominators now. So 2 will go into 12 6 times. So this needs to be multiplied by 6 over 6. So this will become 6 over 12 plus 5 over 12. When we add that, we get 11 over 12. Then let's do a subtraction. Say we have 5 over 6 minus 7 over 9. 6 and 9, the smallest number that both of those will go into is 18. 6 will go into 18 3 times, so we need to multiply this by 3 over 3. And so this will become 15 over 18 minus 9 will go into 18 2 times, so we multiply this by 2 over 2. So this will become 14 over 18. And 15 minus 14 is 1 over 18. Next, you're going to get two fractions. Say we have 5 over 12 and 7 over 18. And you're going to have to say if it's greater than, less than, or equal to. The easiest way to do this would just be to divide it. 5 divided by 12 and 7 divided by 18. See which one is bigger and do it that way. Next, you're going to have a bunch of numbers with decimals. So let's say we have 24.698, and we need to multiply that by 100. Basically, what we're going to do is move the decimal over 2 spots, count how many zeros there are, and that's how many numbers you're going to move the decimal. So 1, 2, you're going to get 2469.8. If you're dividing, you're going to go backwards. So say we have 24698 divided by 100. Count the zeros, there are 2 of them. So you can move the decimal to the left 2 spots, 1, 2, and 246.98. That's the easiest way to multiply and divide by any factor of 10. Just count the zeros. If you're multiplying, you're going to move the decimal over to the left or to the right. If you're dividing, you're going to move it to the left. Then let's say that we have 76 over 8, and we need to move it, change it to a decimal. Here, just divide. You can do this on your calculator. 76 divided by 8 is 9.5. Then you're going to do some rounding. Let's say we have 3.948, and we have to round to the nearest hundredth. That's the second one here. So we're going to look at the number past it, and it's an 8. So that means this is going to go up. This becomes 3.95. Let's say we have a bigger number, 71,684. We need to round to the nearest hundred, which is right here. So the next number is an 8, so it's going to go up. So we're going to have a 717. And here it's important that you put however many more zeros there are. So the answer here is 71,700, not just 717. Then let's say you multiply 2.23 times 2.05. Go ahead and just do this on your calculator. You're going to get 4.5715. Let's say you have 4.486 divided by 5.43. Now when we're dividing here, this one may tell you how many decimal places. So if this says to do it to 4 decimal places, you're going to get 0.8262. Make sure that you round where you need to. Next, let's say we have 4.424 plus 8.05. Going to add these and get 12.474. A subtraction, 124.08 minus 5.264. If you do this on paper, you're going to need to add a 0 and do everything. But again, you're allowed to use your calculator. Just do 124.08 minus 5.264 and get your answer. You should get 118.796. Next, you're going to do some with the scientific notation. So say we have 3.23 times 10 to the 3, and we need to do a normal number, a standard number. So this says that we went to the left 3 spots. So we're going to need to go to the right 1, 2, 3, and the answer is 3230. If we had 323 times 10 to the negative 2, that means we did move to the left. So we need to move to the left 1, 2, 3.23. Let's say we had 323 and we needed to do scientific notation. We're going to go 1, 2, 3.23 because we only want 1 digit before the decimal, and it's times 10 to the 2 because that's how many we moved, so there's only 1 decimal. If we have 0.323, we only want 1 digit past the decimal, so we're going to move it over 1, and we're going to have 3.23, and we moved it to the right 1, so it's times 10 to the negative 1. This one here is the trickiest one because it starts out with a whole number that's bigger than just 1 digit. So you're just going to need to move it over however many spaces to the right because it's not an actual scientific notation here. You want to move it over backwards 2 spots. And then, let's say we have a number that we want to change to a fraction, 1.45. So whatever we have, we're just going to divide by 100. 145 over 100. Divide both of those by 5 to simplify it, and we get 29 over 20. Let's say we have 95%, and we want to move that to a decimal. Just divide a percent by 100, and we get 0.95. Going the opposite way, if we have 0.83 and need to go to a percent, we're going to multiply by 100, and we get 83%. Next, let's say that we have $5,000, and we're going to spend 20% on food. How much are we spending? We're just going to say 5,000 times 20 over 100, or $1,000. Next, let's say that there are 10,000 people, and 2,500 of them take math. What is the percentage that takes math? We're going to say 2,500 over 10,000 times 100, and that equals 25%. So on this, when you're multiplying by the percent, just go 20 over 100, or you can just say by 5,000 times 0.2. And here, when it's asking you what the percentage is, divide the number of what you're looking for by the total number of the sample, and then multiply by 100, and you get a percent. Then let's say that we have 35%, and we need to change that to a fraction. So again, we're just going to say 35 over 100. It's always going to be over 100. Then we need to simplify. We can divide both of them by 5 and get 7 over 20. And let's say that we have another one that's a picture. Say that we have a total of 100 squares. 12 of them are marked. We need to see what the percentage is. So we're just going to say 12 divided by 100. And when we divide that, we get, and then it's going to be times 100. So 12%. Then let's say that we have that x equals -5, y equals 7, and z equals 7. And we're given -3x plus y minus z. So we're just going to substitute our numbers in. -3 times x, which is -5, plus the 7 is a 7 minus 7. And when we do that, -3 times -5 is 15, plus 7 minus 7. The answer is -15. Then let's say we have x equals 6, y equals -4, z equals 2, and we have xz minus y squared. So x is 6, z is 2, minus y squared, and it's -4. So we need to put the -4 in parentheses. So we do the exponent first. So we're going to have 6 times 2 minus, and -4 squared is 16. Then we do our multiplication. 6 times 2 is 12 minus 16. 12 minus 16 is -4. Then let's say that we have $1,000 and we get 5% interest for 3 years. And it's just going to be simple interest. So we're going to say 1,000 times 5% is 5 over 100. And then times the number of years, which is 3. 1,000 times 5 times 3, all divided by 100 is $150 interest that we get. Then let's say we have 9x minus 4y plus 3x plus 2y. We just combine like terms. 9x plus 3x is 12x. Negative 4y plus 2y is negative 2y. And let's say we have 2 minus 5 times x minus 4. We're going to do distribute the negative 5, so 2 minus 5x plus 20. Combine like terms, we get negative 5x plus 22. And that is pretty much what is on the midterm. If you can do questions like these, you'll do just fine.